Hello, everybody. Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to another episode of the Back of the Pack podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Walker. Thank you for joining us. I hope everyone is having a great weekend. It is already the last weekend in October, if you can believe that. I know that I cannot. By the time a lot of you hear this, we could be very well into November, and that just boggles my poor little mind. As I sit here right now and I am recording, I just want to get out there. By the time people hear this, it's going to be over, but I'm recording before. To everyone who is doing the Marine Corps Marathon, all of our friends and listeners that are in Washington, D.C., getting ready to do the MCM, good luck to you guys. Have a great run. Enjoy the heck out of that event because it is one of my favoriteest marathons. It is such a great experience to do the Marine Corps Marathon. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope everyone makes it through happy and healthy. When we come around to Medal Monday, by all means, please share the pictures of you with your medals and your hard-earned bling and swag from the Marine Corps Marathon. I love seeing it, and I can't wait to be back there in a few years myself. 2025, I'm going back for the 50th Marine Corps Marathon, and that is going to be super, super fun. Very much looking forward to that. So congrats to all you guys, because you're going to be done by the time you hear this, and I hope it went well for you. As for me this weekend, did a little piddly 5K. It was the piddly as in, small distance. It is a very nicely run 5K, and a 5K that actually sold out. You don't see that very often these days, where the race director and the race organizers have to send out on social media the night before that the race was officially sold out. So congratulations to everyone doing the Monster Dash. That was a fun 5K this morning, one that I've done several times. It's an enjoyable race. I kind of felt like a jerk face, though, running it. Because, last week, if you listened to the show, we went all over race and running etiquette. And I know, hopefully, I didn't come off as too harsh. I really wasn't trying to sound like, some angry jerk, some get off my lawn kind of runner. No, didn't want to do any of that. I just found it was funny. Karma apparently didn't like last week's episode, because last week, the whole reason I did that episode, or what really put it into my head, was at the cliffhanger run, and this little kid that was running in front of me, who was just kind of zigzagging all over the place and kept getting right in front of me in my path, and I had to kind of move and get around him, and I was getting annoyed with it. And so, of course, we talked about race etiquette. Well, here at Monster Dash, this is a very family and kid heavy type themed race. So, of course, there were kids everywhere, just kids all over the course. And I couldn't help but laugh to myself. It's like, well, you know what? That'll teach me for getting on that one kid last week who was annoying me by running in my way. Now there's at least 50 of them, and they all are just zigzagging all over the course, turning around, looking to find their parents. They don't know when to stop. They don't know how to signal to stop. They don't know where to go. Oh, it was just a debacle, but I couldn't help but laugh. Sometimes it's just funny how the running gods decide to treat you during the course of a race. And if you're on my social media at all, you've already seen this, because of course it hurt my soul. As if that wasn't bad enough, I crossed the finish line. I think I had a really good time. I did very well on the course. I personally feel it's a fast course. It was measured perfectly. My app measured it at 3.10 exactly. So I crossed it. I saw my finishing time. I knew I had done really well. Like, I didn't think in that moment I had a PR, but I thought I was right there at it, like probably top 3 of 5K times for me. And so, of course, I leave the race and I come home and I pull up my handy dandy spreadsheet that has all my times on it. Yes, I have 2 spreadsheets, one where all my races are in order of date. And then I have separate tabs for all the 5Ks, 10Ks, halves, fulls, and miscellaneouses. And they are all organized by finisher time. So came home and I went to my 5K tab. I'm scrolling up towards the top. Okay. I see my previous PR. My previous PR was in October of 2011. We're now in October of 2022. That's 11 years worth of miles on the old bod. And I missed a PR by 4 seconds. 4 seconds. If I was 4 seconds faster, I would have had a new 5K PR at 42 years old, 12 years after I started running. 4 seconds, man. I couldn't believe it. So I'm like, this was the most wonderfully horrible race I've ever done. It was wonderful because I felt great. I ran at what for me is a very fast pace. I ran the entire course. I even ran through the aid station. I mean, from start line to finish line, I was at a run. Really good pace for me. And I come up 4 seconds long and just that far. 3 seconds, I would have tied my previous PR. 4 seconds would have gotten me a new one. I couldn't believe it. It's hard to be too upset, but I was so bummed I didn't get it. And I bet a lot of you have that feeling too. If you hear this episode and you want to chime in and just respond on the social media aspect, because we always post these episodes to Facebook, let me know how close you've gotten. How close were you to eclipsing a PR only to come up, a couple seconds short? I bet there are some tales of heartbreak and woe out there, because I know that my morning run sure was one of those. But you know what? I will take the benefit that I had a really good run, an encouraging run, a fast run for me. I'll take it, move on. So you'll see the Monster Dash medal. It will be presented on Monday for Medal Monday. And hopefully you guys will see it on the social media platforms and play along. It's really fun when everyone posts their medals from whatever race they did that weekend. Even if you did the same race that I did, even if you were also at Monster Dash, put your picture out there, show off your bling, show off your hard-earned medal. We don't care so much about the hard-earned banana. I hope you enjoyed that, but we don't need to see that. Just show us the medal, and we're good. But yeah, we saw several of our friends out there this morning at the Monster Dash, so that was cool. Tomorrow, I'm not doing a race, but I know there's another one around town tomorrow that a lot of people will be at, so good luck at the Spooky Sprint. Enjoy that. And then next weekend, the Back of the Pack podcast, only one race because it's a biggie. We will be out in Lee Summit, Missouri for the Longview Half Marathon. So that is where we're going to be next weekend, is the Longview Half Marathon. And I'm sure we will see a lot of our friends out there next week. So today's episode, I really kind of gone back and forth on what we wanted to talk about today. I thought we might do a sequel to the race and running etiquette podcast that we did last week, because there was actually some stuff that we missed and some stuff that people might have suggested. And I think we will do that, but we're not going to do that this week. We're going to move on to something else that made me chuckle today, because of course, ever since the race, I have just been railing on my lost PR. And I was talking to people at the run, and as you listen to people and as you talk to people at races, have you guys caught on that runners have their own language? We totally have our own language. And I'm sure to a non-runner, we sound like complete space cadets the way that we talk to each other. Now, if I am talking to another runner, I'm going to use our buddy Will. If I'm talking to Will and we are talking race stuff and times and distances and trainings and this, that, and the other, we make perfect sense to each other. If another person came along who did not run and was not a part of this world, we would sound like blithering idiots. And so I thought it'd be fun. Let's just go through runner's language. You're going to learn some stuff. Really, you're going to hear some terms that even I was not familiar with, but I heard them before. But now I'm like, oh, that's what that means. So we're going to go through. All right. This is from Roadrunner Sports. They did a whole list. It's 56 terms that runners use. And again, I find some of them quite interesting. And then some of them, yeah, we all know these. We use them all the time. So let's get underway. They're in alphabetical order here. First term is bandit. And bandit, these are cheaters. Bandits are the cheaters that make their way into a race without registering or paying an entrance fee. I definitely know some people who have bandited a race. A beer mile, a race that consists of one beer, 12-ounce minimum of 5% alcohol by volume. I love that they break that down. Consumed every quarter mile. Penalty laps are given for vomiting. They definitely do a beer mile here in town. Hopefully, wherever you are, if you're listening, not in the Kansas City area, go find a race that's a beer mile. They're fun. Another one, black toenails. So, yikes. These unsightly toenails are often caused by ill-fitting shoes that put pressure on your poor toes. Be kind, get shoes that fit properly. So if you do long distance races and you find that you get the black toenails, and a lot of people do, it's a problem with your shoes. Go ahead and get that taken care of. The next one is bonk, B-O-N-K, bonk. And it says, the worst, when you literally can't even, and then it says in parentheses, run any farther. So go ahead and put on your Valley Girl for a minute. I can't even. Okay, so when you can't keep going, you bonked. Next is bucket list. That's exactly what it sounds like. A race or event that you really want to tackle in the future. That's bucket list race for me. Let's see. What other bucket list races do I have? Well, okay, we're going to take care of Boston in April. We've been over that. If you go to our website, www.backofthepackpodcast.com, you can now see the link. If you are so inclined and willing to help me raise the charity funds for Boston, the link is right there on our page. Please, 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 if you feel called to do so, any money you can donate is wonderful because we still got a long way to go before I get that Boston charity bib. And I really want to cover Boston for the podcast and run it because that's my number one bucket list race. Some other bucket list races, and if you've done these, I'd love to hear what you think. The Big Sur Marathon, definitely one I want to do. London Marathon, of course, I want to do. Well, let's talk about the London Marathon. Of course, I did not make it in the lottery that just came out this past week. I'm sure most people did not get in either. If you did, great to you. I wanted to look, what were the odds this year? So the London Marathon didn't give an exact number of places that were allocated by ballot, but it is believed to be around 17 to 20,000 of the 40,000 total spots. And then this year they had more than 350,000 people enter the lottery. So I didn't make it. Other bucket list races, of course, Tokyo. Yeah, like I said, London, getting Berlin in 2023, getting Boston in 2023. I would love to do the Disney World Marathon. I think that would be fun. And then there's a marathon out in Los Angeles that looks kind of cool to me. Oh, and the Philadelphia Marathon. So those are just some I would like to do. I'd love to know what you want to do. The next term, chub rub. Thigh chafing from skin rubbing together. Yes, chub rub is real. Next one, and I didn't know about this one. We all have seen this happen before. Hopefully it hasn't happened to you, but a code brown. Yep, that's exactly what you think it is. When you really got to go, and you know what we mean. That's code brown. Crop dusting, another toilet humor one. Passing someone on the course while passing gas. Trying to avoid this. Drafting. Drafting, you would think NASCAR or car racing. Nope, drafting's real and running. Letting another runner do all the work. A race strategy where you tuck behind another runner and allow them to suck and block the wind while you cruise through the miles, waiting for the perfect moment to break free. That makes it sound far easier than it is, but people definitely do try and draft even in running. The dread mill. Yes, we all know the dread mill. For runners who love the feel of fresh air and pavement or trail beneath their feet, thinking about having to run on a treadmill is absolutely dread-inducing, hence the not-so-flattering moniker, the dread mill. We all know that one. The next one, some of you have heard this term before, a fartlek. Yep, a fartlek. The beauty of the fartlek running workout is that you're untethered to timers and mile marks, so they're a great way to breathe a little freedom into otherwise strict training routine. You'll benefit from both aerobic and anaerobic exercise, plus you'll help stave off boredom. If you want more information, and there's tons, just Google search Fartlek, and they'll tell you all the different ways you can do it. The next one is a fitness leak. A nice way of saying that you weren't able to hold it in. Yes, it's a fitness leak if nature calls and you're not able to get to the Porta-John in time. I didn't learn this term until very recently, and it was, I think, my teenage daughter who filled me in on this. But FOMO, F-O-M-O, FOMO. Fear of missing out. When you see others posting about their running adventures, and that longing is all too deep and all too real. Guilty, totally guilty of this. Was guilty of this last weekend at the Kansas City Marathon when everyone is posting their marathon and half marathon pics. And there's me with my piddly little 5K medal. And we're going to talk about this in a future episode, kind of a whole FOMO episode. But yeah, I even took my medal off and stuck it in my pocket last week because I felt bad for just doing the 5K. That is not a good thought. Like, I'm not saying I was right for that thought because I was not. But yeah, we're going to go into that on another episode. Next one is fuel. We all know fuel, but here's what they say. When tackling longer runs, runners will have to fill up their tank. Running nutrition comes in all kinds of forms, including energy gels, chews, bars, and even jelly beans. Others prefer to chomp on pretzels or sugary candies like Swedish fish. Just remember, it's important to eat around 100 calories after an hour of running. Okay. Let's see. The next one, a Garmin brag. A photograph of a GPS watch face uploaded to Facebook because actually typing how far, how fast you ran would be narcissistic. Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah, we don't want to type it out, and really start to brag on a run. We'll just post the picture and be real subtle about the fact that we ran X amount of miles in X amount of time. Yeah, the Garmin brag, definitely real. Saw those on my Facebook page today. A ghost runner. Ghost runner, ever get that feeling of another runner is running right behind you? That's called a ghost runner. Hammer or drop the hammer, running hard when you need to. Intervals and repeats, short, fast bursts of running that are alternated with slower running intervals. So interval training is actually important. While a lot of this is silly, intervals are definitely a real thing. Intervals and repeats. So intervals is more if you're doing track work. Repeats, I think of more if you're doing hill repeats, where you will run up the hill, then maybe walk down it, run back up the hill, walk down it. It is a form of interval, but hill repeats are very crucial, I think, for races like half marathons and above. You definitely want to do your hill repeats once a week. And then intervals, like I said, which you can do at a track, you could do 400 interval, you could do an 800, whatever you want to do. But both of those are really crucial in actual marathon training. So if you're doing a half and above, look up intervals and repeats and just find what fits best into your training schedule. The next one is called junk miles, getting those extra miles in without any real workout in mind. Been there, done that. The kick. If you hear someone say kick, 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 the final push runners give at the end of a race or training run. You'll hear kick a lot. Normally, if you're at a big race, about the time you get into the finishing chute, where the barricades are set up on the side and where all the spectators either are or they were, that's normally when you try and kick. Kick from there down to the finish line. If nothing else, it'll take a few extra seconds off and maybe you'll get the time that you wanted. Next one is leapfrogging. Seeing that same person again and again during a race. You're leapfrogging each other. OMG. This is the story of my racing career. And I'm going to be real honest. I've done work this year. I've dropped almost 90 pounds. So I know that previously, let's say this time last year, I was most definitely the fat kid on the course. Now, I've always been a very athletic fat kid, but I've been the fat kid my whole life. So I know, and I've seen this in so many races, I am someone's measuring stick. They don't want to lose to the fat kid. I get it. Like, I understand the logic, and I'm not mad about it. I actually got really used to it. But that led to so much leapfrogging. It sort of drives me crazy. We could also fit this into another runner's etiquette episode. But if you're going to leapfrog someone, and I understand, I'm not mad at you, get around them. Don't stop right in front of them. Oh my God, this happens so much. People, I pass someone, and of course I get that look. I can just see the look on their face of, oh no, fat boy, you're not beating me. And so they dart ahead. Well, then they stop. Then they come down to a walk, and it's usually right in front of me, where after about 10 steps, I've already caught back up with them. So then I got to go to the left, and I'm going around again. They get that same, oh no, fat boy, you're not beating me. And then they dart ahead again. It was just happening today. Just happened this morning at the Monster Dash. Much more athletic kids this time. So, it made me feel a little better about myself, but it was the same thing. And then they get up there, they take it down to a walk because our fitness levels are just different, our stamina. And then we do it all over again. So I am so used to the leapfrogging and having people try and use me as their measuring stick. And so they leapfrog me all the time. They get ahead. They slow down. I get in front of them. They get ahead. They slow down. I get in front of them. It wears you out. So always be aware of the leapfrogging. If you've got someone who is like seriously leapfrogging with you, just get ahead of them, try and stay ahead of them, but don't be the person that kind of stops right in front of them. And believe me, there's times I've wanted to just slam on my brakes and see if they run into the back of me, but that's not good for anybody. Next one, a long goner, a run you knew right from the first mile was going to suck in every way imaginable. I have certainly had those runs. I couldn't tell you why that's called a long goner, but yeah, I have definitely had runs where from the moment I stepped out the front door, I knew that I either didn't have the juice, I didn't have the desire. I knew like just something wasn't going to go right and everything about it was wrong. So been there. The next one is lotto stock. Oh yeah, lotto stock, STALK, like stalking. Yes, a lotto stock. The process of checking your email every 5 minutes to see if you want a lottery spot for Chicago, New York, Marine Corps, London, Tokyo, whatever, for the marathon. Anytime you get into a race where there's a lottery, unless they tell you the day it's going to be released, and credit to London, they did say, hey, Monday the 24th, I think it was the 24th, Monday, that's when the results come out. But there are some races that don't. And it's like over a period of time. You never know when you're going to get it. and you're checking your email just constantly. Oh, goodness. I have been there and done that. The next one, this sounds bad. LSD, not what you think. They even say that. It's not what you think. LSD, it's not what you think. LSD stands for long, slow distance. So pretty much any race I do that's above a 10K is long, slow distance because it's a long way, but I'm slow. Some people I used to pal around with who then became hoity-toity runners, and now they're too good for me. The heck with them anyway. They nicknamed me the tractor because I didn't go fast, but I went far. So long, slow distance, I understand. The next one is called maternity leave. This I'm not familiar with. Maternity leave, a sick day used the Monday after a marathon solely to avoid walking up the stairs of your office building. Okay, that's hilarious. Let's see. Have I ever called in sick the day after marathon? Yep, sure have. Yes, I have. No question about that. Next one, mountain goating, walking or running uphill in a crouched position using hands and feet to climb. Okay, thankfully, I've not seen people on their hands and feet trying to climb a mountain. Negative splits. Negative splits are a big deal in the running world. This isn't a funny one. This is a real one. Running your second half of a run faster than the first half. You also are considered to have run negative splits if each mile is faster than the previous. And I was super thrilled. So today at this morning's 5K, where I missed my PR by 4 seconds, if I haven't said that already, I had negative splits over the whole race. My first mile was the slowest. My second mile was the second slowest. My third mile was the fastest. So I was super happy about that. Lately, I have started to care about my splits, and I'm really working hard on negative splits. So if you're working on that as well, and not everyone needs to, shoot, some people don't care at all if they have negative splits, and I'm cool with that too. But negative splits is something I'm trying to focus on right now. So if you are as well, I understand. I feel you. The next one, Neon Tino, a runner dressed in head-to-toe neon clothing, reserves the right to yell, "Are you blind?" at inattentive drivers and or mountain bikers. There's definitely a lot of neon in my wardrobe. Not going to lie. Next one, a newbie. We all know this. A newbie is a beginner. If you are a newbie listening to this podcast, welcome. We are glad to have you. The next one is an out and back. When a course is out a ways and back to the same spot. So we all know what an out and back is. A lot of races do that. You're on the same road the entire time. You either run a mile and a half out, turn around and run the mile and a half back, and you've got your 5K or, whatever the distance are. Definitely been there. The worst one by far, and I don't think they do this race anymore, the Rock and Roll Marathon in New Orleans, the full marathon, because the first half was wonderful. You're going through all these cool parts of New Orleans, and you get to see everything, and it finishes coming down Bourbon Street, huge finish line at the end of Bourbon Street, super cool. Okay, well, if you're doing the full marathon, they don't care about the second half of the full marathon run. You hang a left right before the finish line, and then you just run a 6.5 mile out and back. So 6.5 miles out on this little frontage road, like almost a utility road, and you turn around and you run the 6.5 miles back, getting your second half of the race, and then you finish. Oh, that was the worst. That was the worst. 13.1 miles on the same dang road. That one was brutal. And the next one is point to point, a run or race that does not start and end at the same place as compared to an out and back, when you might run back in the direction you just came from. Point to point, like the New York Marathon is a point to point. You start way the heck away from the finish line. Boston, a point to point. A lot of races are point to point. A quad buster, a long downhill run or running stairs or jumping and lunging. Yep, those will mess with your quads. Queso therapy, yes, queso therapy. A proven cure for post-run grumpiness involving salty tortilla chips and melted cheese in a carefully measured dose of all you can eat for maximum effectiveness combined with beer supplements. Queso therapy is real. I will adhere to it. I didn't have queso today. What did I have? Oh, I came home and had a donut. Yep, I sure did. Rabbit. These silly rabbits start races at a blazing pace and then drop out. Sometimes a rabbit is sanctioned by the race to pace elite runners. Okay, I didn't know about rabbit because I'm not fast enough to know about rabbit. The next one, roadkill. Sadly, a racer who has bonked or injured themselves and is lying alongside the trail or path or the road. There can be funny versions of roadkill, the people who just kind of hit the wall and whatever. And then there's also serious ones, which is nothing to be made fun of. So we're just going to keep this on the lighter side. A runcation, Combining a desired destination with a run or race. They call that the perfect vacation. Really, all my vacations right now are runcations. In November, my very first trip ever to New York City was for the New York Marathon. My very first trip ever to Washington, D.C. was for the Marine Corps Marathon. My very first trip down in New Orleans was for the New Orleans Marathon. Are you picking up what I'm laying down yet? Yeah, runcations are a thing. And it's kind of my excuse to travel, really. Let's see, runchies or rungry. Running can make us insanely hungry. Feed us or else. It's on you when we get feisty, snarky, or downright ornery. The next one is runcrastination. Blowing off stuff that don't matter for the one thing that does, running. We're all familiar with this one. A run feat, a runner's selfie. Taken before, during, or after a run. Term coined by, let's see, run, selfie, repeat. That's funny. A run hole. Bet you can guess what a run hole is. A term assigned to a runner who talks incessantly about running and neglects friends and family for training and races. Yep. Runner's high. Hey, if it didn't feel good, we wouldn't do it. There's nothing like the post-run or even mid-run euphoric bliss known as a runner's high. You know what? I almost had one of those today. It might have been like the second one ever. The next one, a sandbagger. You know this type of runner. I really haven't been running much and I'm coming off injury and these aren't even my shoes and I'll just run in jean shorts. They make excuses and then absolutely crush their run, leaving you and others in the dust. Sandbagger. Shining. It's early, like 4:30 or 5 a.m. early. You're trying to stick to it, but while fumbling around in the darkness, dressing for your run, you bump into and stumble over furniture and the other household treats to the shin area. I'm sorry, so it's not shining, it's shinning. Shinning. Huh. All right, snot rocket, farmer's blow. Close one nostril with one finger and blow. Enjoy this maneuver while standing or preferably mid-run. No, not preferably mid-run. I mean, if you have to, you must, but dear God, move off to the side. Sticky. Let them know there's a runner driving with assorted run stickers on your vehicle. You earned it, but if you haven't earned it, don't do it. Okay, so let's see. My car, I don't have any running stickers except for the Back of the Pack podcast sticker, which I have one for you. You just got to get with me and I'll give you a sticker. So there we go. Find me at the Longview half. I'll give you a sticker. A streaker. Yes, you've probably done this. Streaking is the act of running consecutive days or annually participating in the same race. Clothes are optional. Around here, clothes not optional. Just wear clothes. Swag. Who doesn't love all the free goodies at race expos? It's all about volume, not value, folks. So swag. Taper. Your race training is mostly complete. Now it's time to cut back mileage and rest up for the big day. Taper is actually a serious thing. If you do any marathon training, you will come to your taper point. And boy, is that weird. When you are running so much and so often and so many miles, when they finally start telling you to back off, it messes with your head. And then you feel like, oh my gosh, I've ruined everything. I've lost all my training. It's all gone. What's happening? No. Trust the taper. Tempo, a faster, shorter training run. The wall. We've all talked about the wall before. The wall usually presents itself after you've bonked and is a mental and physical blockage that makes you feel like you can't possibly move another step. Fight through and find your fifth or sixth wind. Threshold run. Go ahead. Test your lactate threshold and see if you dry heave when done. Go even shorter and faster than a tempo running and do heart-pounding intervals or repeats with 30 to 60 second rest. This trains your body for extreme paces. Trail money. Toilet paper as opposed to leaves, rocks, or debris. Okay. I'm not a trail runner, so if you're a trail runner, I hope that made sense to you. And the last one is wizard sticks. Oh, it's magic. You know, never believe it's not so. Trekking poles. Okay, trekking poles are wizard sticks. Again, I'm a road runner. I don't know much about the off-roading and trail stuff. I'm sorry. I know we're running long, but you know what? Hey, let's have a longer than normal episode. What do you say? We're having fun, right? Here's some common acronyms. And this is kind of what started it all today with me talking so much about PRs. And the first one is a PR, a personal record, your speediest time at any given distance. A PB, that's not peanut butter. A personal best, a CR, a course record. An NR, a national record. a WR, a world record, and then a DFL. You'll hear this one. DFL is dead freaking last. You may have placed last, but hey, you ran. All right. So DFL is dead freaking last. In ITB, you'll hear about the ITB band, that pesky fascia band from your hip to your knee. And you'll know it when you heard it. An FKT, fastest known time. An MUT, Mountain Ultra Trail Runner. That's never going to pertain to me. DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, an epidemic among long distance runners. A DNF, it did not finish. LSD, long, slow distance. And then a BQ, Boston qualifier, any marathon that's certified to award you a ticket to the coveted Boston Marathon based on your time. And then our last little bit here in runner language, distances. So 100 meters is the shortest common sprint race held outdoors. 200 meters is a half lap around a standard track. 400 meters is 1/4 a mile, one lap around a standard track. 800 meters is a half mile, 2 laps around a standard track. 1,200 meters is 3/4 a mile, 3 laps around a standard track. 1,500 meter is 0.93 mile metric mile, 3 3/4 laps around the track. Okay, so I know they skipped it there. So if you went up to a 1,600 meter, you'd be at 1 mile. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Okay. And yeah, then the 1,500, which is an event, is 0.93 miles. Anyway, 5K is 3.1 miles. A 10K is 6.2 miles. A 15K, not many of those in this area, 9.3 miles. A half marathon, 13.1 miles. Full marathon is 26.2. Oh, that famous 26.2. An ultra marathon, any distance greater than 26.2 miles, typically referring to a 50K race or beyond. What's a 50K, you might ask? A 50K is 31.1 miles. I do not have one of those to my credit. A triathlon, a race that involves swimming, cycling, and running. Let's see, the sprint is a 750-meter swim, 20-kilometer bike, and a 5K run. The Olympic or standard triathlon is 1.5K swim, 40-kilometer bike, and a 10K. Then a half Ironman, 1.2 miles swim. Oh my gosh. Swimming for 1.5 miles, 56 miles on a bike, and then a half marathon. And then a full Ironman, 2.4 mile swim, a 112 mile bike, and a 26.2 mile run. That's a full marathon. So I know we kind of rushed to the end there. I know I'm keeping everybody long, but I thought this was super interesting because, again, just the way runners talk to each other. If you're new or you're not as engrossed in the area as some of us nerds, hopefully something you heard here might have been a little bit helpful. That's my hope. So that is going to do it for this episode of the Back of the Pack podcast. Like I said, next week, we're going to be at the Longview Half Marathon in Lee Summit, Missouri. So hopefully we'll see some of you out there. I have not run a half marathon since June, so we're going to see how well this goes. Should be fun. And then we'll just continue on as we will be in November. And the great turkey draws ever closer because, man, I do love some Thanksgiving. We'll be out the Ward Parkway Thanksgiving Day run. So if you're out there, I hope I see you. And we've still got a few races between now and then. So my name is Kyle Walker. My pleasure, as always. This show is brought to you by OKKC Sports, and it is produced by Katie O'Neill. Thank you all very much for joining us. Have yourself a great week of training, and we'll see you next week.